Hi, I've been looking forward to today's talk. And what kind of catalyzed this talk for me was a couple of events. One was the recent solar eclipse. And it was a reminder to me that we're always facing thresholds and doorways of some kind. There are people who thought, oh my gosh, the universe is going to go from one thing to another after that eclipse. But I'm just realizing that we're constantly in transformation. The universe is always in this state of, and we are in this state of becoming. And part of our growth on this plane depends on going through what I call thresholds and doorways, events in life that create both challenge and growth. And for those of us here who are on an intentional spiritual path, we often seek out doorways of transformation. We pull them to us. We want to shift. We want to invite change in ourselves and in the world. And on the subject of doorways and transformations, I've been thinking about a particular type of transformation, the metamorphosis or shape-shifting, if you will, especially of the caterpillar into a butterfly. So a spiritual metamorphosis can mean that what is to come it may look unrecognizable to what came before. It's sometimes a complete shift, perhaps in how we think, how we are in relationship, how we move through the world. And isn't that the type of shift, a metamorphosis that the world at large needs so desperately right now? And I think it begins right here. It begins right here with us. So are there areas of your life that you're seeking a doorway in, you're seeking a threshold, or you are in a threshold, a total transformation perhaps from one state to the next? Now, the caterpillar symbolically is a lower energy form of beingness, but it carries with it all of the ideas imprinted within its DNA of the magnificence of the butterfly within it. How? Biologically, it does so with the help of something called imaginal cells. And I love this concept of imaginal cells. It's so fitting that they're called that because something deep inside the caterpillar subconsciously, biologically knows what it is to become. This blueprint is within inside it, but it's said that the caterpillar in its late stage of its life is fighting against the change. Fighting against the change. It's not alone, is it? It's fighting against the change biologically that it consciously does not know is coming. It consciously does not know it's going to become a butterfly. It has no idea of its pending magnificence. But given the right environment, this caterpillar will evolve. It will reveal the fully expressed idea that somewhere in the imaginal cells of the caterpillar, and so it is with us in a metaphysical sense and a real sense. But in between what was and what will be, there is a transitory phase. In the case of the caterpillar, it's the chrysalis, the cocoon. Things are unknown. They can be confusing. They can be nebulous, mysterious, murky. Last week during our Wednesday night gathering, Sacred Space, we were talking about the word liminal. And the word liminal means this in-between phase, full of potential, perhaps, but sometimes uncertain. We call it a liminal phase. And that word is so apt for what transitions do. They go through this, they don't just go from here to here, they go from here and they're in this cocooning for a while. The liminal phase doesn't look anything like for instance, the cocoon doesn't look anything like the caterpillar. It doesn't look anything like the butterfly. It's just this mysterious orb, and it contains the struggle somehow of the old, and somehow the idea of the new is completely captured and imprinted in this liminal phase. Someone who has been writing, an author has been writing about liminal phases lately, and that's Richard Rohr. And he says, we have to allow ourselves to be drawn into sacred space, That's the name of our Wednesday night gathering. We have to allow ourselves to be drawn into sacred space, into liminality. Liminality. All transformation takes place here. There alone is our world left behind, though we're not yet sure of the new existence that awaits us. This sacred space where the old world is able to fall apart and disintegrate, and a bigger world is to be revealed, is there. If we don't encounter liminal space in our lives, we start idealizing normalcy. We start idealizing normalcy. Sticking to old habits, right? Just staying in our old way of being unconsciously. So Richard Rohr concludes by saying that this threshold is God's waiting room. Is God's waiting room. And then he goes on to talk about how God is the doctor. But it's a really cool analogy. God's waiting room is this liminal space. So again, the caterpillar you is resisting the change. It's afraid of change, perhaps, or it's so used to being in the old ways that it's just saying no, because we do resist change because it's different. It's human nature to do so. No, I'm staying put. I am staying put. I'm putting my foot down and I'm resisting. But as Michael Beckwith says, the pain of the caterpillar will continue to push on you painfully until the vision, until that sweet vision of something that is the next stage pulls you gently. Okay. Exactly a month ago, I want to tell this story. Exactly a month ago, I passed my last set of ministerial panels, giving me the approval to become an ordained unity minister for life. And this was a 5-year journey. The next morning, I was laid off from my day job. Just like that. I was laid off from my day job. The timing was a God thing, though. So my ordination, which will be official and officiated on July 13th of this year, was a planned metamorphosis of David into this ministerial being, this continuation, this marker of my ministerial commitment. It's a doorway, again, that took 5 years of schooling to go through. But my day job, which I will always be grateful for, was the caterpillar life of David, the corporate marketer. It was the caterpillar identity of David, the corporate marketer. And that part of my life always felt like it was in this larva stage, this caterpillar stage. I didn't want to take off and become the corporate butterfly. And I think the universe picked up on that. The threshold of embracing my corporate career was one that I never wanted to walk through. I didn't want to go that way. I wanted to walk through different thresholds, and the universe clearly answered me loud and clear. So now I get to explore the liminal phase question for me. What would it look like if I devote the rest of my life to the spiritual? What would it look like? That thought excites me. That thought energizes me. That will be where I want to open new doorways. That's where new thresholds of becoming are. So what metamorphosis is waiting to happen? It could be small. It could be a metamorphosis of habit. What's coming to mind for you? What doors are you seeking out? And it can be on any plane. It can be on physical, emotional, mental plane. For instance, your fear of public speaking. Some of you may have that. There's a caterpillar waiting to be transformed. Your desire to serve. There's a butterfly waiting to emerge. Your lack and limitation, your negative thinking, complaining and gossip. There's caterpillar consciousness waiting to be transformed so the magnificence of the butterfly can happen. So whatever it is, it can be a physical ailment. It can be whatever it is we're looking to shift. The question I asked myself in writing this talk was, how do we catalyze? How do we jumpstart these transformations? How do we help them move along? And how do we invite more doors to come to us, more doors of opportunity, more doors of abundance, more doors of prosperity, more doors of joy? How do we open those thresholds? I think this is what we as spiritual people do best. There was a spiritual counselor of mine that always told me the environment dictates the change. The environment dictates the change. Not the ecological environment, but the spiritual environment. So how do we change the spiritual environment? And the answer may sound simple, but it's made up of various things. It's essentially the fourth principle of unity. And that is spiritual practices. Spiritual practices is how we change that. And spiritual practices include intention. They include prayer. They include journaling and meditation and gratitudes and visioning, spiritual study, positive thinking, self-care. Without these things, we get stuck too long not opening doorways. All these spiritual practices, the things that we do, this service being a spiritual practice, listening to music, singing music being a spiritual practice, is how we propel ourselves forward. And a lot of these are simply mindfulness. Simple mindfulness. It's holding sacred space for another, perhaps. It's being aware of what's going on in our habits, being aware of what's going on in our innermost thoughts, and just being with that and saying, that's okay right now. That's okay. I noticed that, but I'm going to change that. So it starts by us noticing and then being a change agent in our private universe by intending, by paying attention, by praying, by meditating, being a change agent. So the inner work of us becomes reflected in the outer world. It's like watering soil that is dry, and so you're creating the right conditions for the tree to grow within you. So this is how we create more butterflies. But what if we encounter obstacles along this path of metamorphosis, whatever path we're taking, whatever door we're taking? What if we encounter obstacles? I think there's some wisdom, and the last part of my talk here is going to be about a Hindu deity named Ganesh. And this is what Ganesh looks like. It's the elephant god, 3,000-year-old deity. And whenever I'm aware of crossing through a new threshold, I like to surround myself with Ganesh, because Ganesh is the Lord of thresholds and the remover of all obstacles. And you don't have to believe in the deity Ganesh. Ganesh is just another expression of the one presence and one power. But Ganesh can be a very valuable teaching symbol in terms of how to move through thresholds with trust. It's quite obvious that now is a time that we are going through thresholds and obstacles on every level as a planet. Our physical world, you don't have to watch the news for more than 15 minutes to see it. We're going through obstacles and challenges and change. The consciousness of the entire planet appears to be in a state of unrest and upheaval. And sometimes I think when I'm in personal upheaval, I'll just sit Ganesh right next to me and I'll just say, I don't know. Show me how. Grant me divine guidance. I'm affirming divine order. And so as I look at the world going through this upheaval, I say, the world doesn't know how. Grant the world divine guidance. I'm affirming divine order for the world. And so this model of Ganesh is really trusting in the one presence. It really is. And I think this conversation about Ganesh is really powerful because Ganesh is known as the remover of all obstacles. All obstacles. And that means there's the African proverb that says, there can be a way made out of no way. I love that saying. There can be a way made out of no way. Let there be a way made out of no way. And it means that solutions will appear maybe that we haven't thought of yet, or that don't exist as a possibility, not in our logical mind, or not given the information that we have right now. Or maybe the solution will be a fourth or fifth dimensional solution here imposed on a three-dimensional world. So that's why we can't understand it. So that's why we like to do this fourth, fifth dimensional work, which is spiritual practice. We're touching that absolute realm. We're making contact with that absolute realm. So about obstacles and making a way out of no way, I just want to show you one more thing about Ganesh. Every Ganesh, can you see that? There's a little rat at Ganesh's feet. And I have a smaller Ganesh. And guess what is at, there's a little rat there. You can't, let me just see. There it is. It's just a teeny rat. And even the smallest, tiniest Ganesh has a little teeny rat right there. And what's interesting is that it symbolizes Ganesh's ability to overcome obstacles as personified as the rat. And it symbolizes our ability to do the same, overcome any obstacle. The interesting part, though, is that Ganesh is not only the remover of obstacles, but Ganesh can put obstacles in our way for the lessons that we learn from them. Now, Ganesh, once again, you don't have to believe in Ganesh. Just think of Ganesh as universal law, as the one power and the one presence, and notice that, as Myrtle Fillmore might have said, everything is a gift, everything, life is a school, everything is put there for our benefit. So the obstacle could be the path. There's a book by Mary O'Malley. Has anybody ever heard of it? It's called What's in the Way is the Way. And if you think about that, the obstacle is not the thing that is, well, it's the thing that's impeding you, sure, but it is the answer. The obstacle is the answer, and you can look at it that way. So instead of viewing obstacles as something that are bad, you can view obstacles as allies or teachers. Richard Bach said, "There's no such thing as a problem without a gift for you in its hands. There is no such thing as a problem without a gift for you in its hands." And it makes me think of when my mom had her stroke in 2016, I look back, I didn't realize that gifts were happening at that moment. I became her full-time caregiver, but it wasn't until years later that I realized we got to share and make so many memories together. I got to know her in a different way because of her going through the threshold of a stroke. I had to quit my job. I had to leave my my place of residence and just sleep on her floor. It was like an ashram, if you will, because it took away a lot of things that I was used to, and it put me in this environment where I could just know her. And so the obstacle was the way, and it was the gift. Is there anything in your life that's like that? So before I close, I'll just say, last year, before I talked about Ganesh, I drew a chart. And what you can do is you can draw a chart of all the moments of your life from birth until now. And you can consider the happiest, most productive moments, or the peak moments, the highs, and you can consider things that were unfortunate, obstacles as lows, and you start to document. You draw a number line, 0, 10, I'm 20 years old, I'm 30 years old, I'm 40 years old, and you start to fill in, oh, 1972, this happened, and just where is it on the energetic level? Is it up here? Is it down here? And just start to draw. And what I realized was, after every period of obstacles, there was growth. There was growth. And so we can see the obstacle as a sign of blessing heading our way. So I think I'm ready to close, but I will just say that if we view obstacles as not the enemy, if we view thresholds as a sacred doorway, and if we look differently at this space between the caterpillar and the butterfly, and be comfortable that there's a liminal state, and let us be pulled by the vision instead of pushed by the pain. And that means us looking forward to what is to become. It can be a pleasant experience instead of a bad experience. Liminal can be a good thing instead of a bad thing. So I am complete, and I'm going to spotlight you, Amy.
Okay, so if you all know me, right? And you know that I like to write something, because David's talks are so rich that I want to try to capture what we just heard. So this is just the melody. Who knows what's going to happen, but let's just be present for it because it's really fun. Doorways and changes, everything rearranges what needs to be shed so you can fly. Call to thresholds and breakthroughs and let goes. We must know the way to grow is through the mind. We notice awareness, intend and take note. There are obstacles and challenges, but the way to flow is we know that we know as we water the tree. Be open to consciousness so we can be free. Oh, Ganesh, show me how, let me know what to do. Oh, Ganesh, let me trust this cocoon. I am ready for all of the obstacles to be removed inside, so I can unleash my highest butterfly. What's in the way is the way. Look at the problem as an ally and answer. There's nothing for solving. It's growing, unfolding through times that seem painful. There are blessings. The blocks bring the rains, bring the rainbows. Oh, Ganesh, show me how. Let me know what to do. Oh, Ganesh, let me notice the obstacle is the cocoon. I am ready for the blessings to come from inside, so I can unleash my highest butterfly, my highest butterfly. Oh, 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 I am ready for the blessings to come from the inside. Yeah. A sacred doorway, the liminal night. The vision is pulling me into the light. Oh, Ganesh, oh, sweet spirit, show me what to do. Oh, let me know that it's safe right here in the cocoon. It is coming the time for me to spread my wings and fly. So don't be afraid of the pain and the wrapping up in the time. Don't be afraid of the pain and the wrapping up in the liminal spaces inside. You're a butterfly, you're a butterfly, you're a butterfly. You know who you are, you know who you are. You're awake. You're awake.
I love it. Amy, how do you do that?
I
Like,
love that whole concept of the liminal. I think I'd like to take a little bit more time with that idea and write you something proper.
yeah, and thank you to Linda Yamasaki for bringing that to me through Richard Rohr's writings. But it's a beautiful concept. So thank you, Amy, for that for that prayer and song, that song and prayer. And let's bring ourselves to a moment of community prayer right now. And I'm just inviting you to think about what's your prayer right now. What's on your mind in terms of what you want to give. You have extra love, extra healing energy, extra wisdom. Where would you want to impart that right now? What would you want to solve right now? For this, I'm so grateful. And so it is. So I'm going to share my screen for today's meditation. I just invite you to notice what's present in your mind and in your body. And just lovingly accept whatever it is. And just invite your attention to just the heart of yourself right now. Knowing that you can let go of any worries, any concerns. There's nothing to do right now but to be present to the one power and to the one presence. So as you breathe, just breathe into that knowledge and in that safety and that knowing as you fall into the arms of the God of your understanding, that source that sustains everything. That source that holds you as sure as the chair you're sitting on. As you think of yourself just becoming more grounded. And I want you to focus on a few affirmations as you close your eyes, if you're comfortable. And the first is just taking a deep breath and saying to yourself, with each exhale, saying to yourself, I am so grateful. I am so grateful. And you may think and see in your mind's eye the things that you're grateful for, and just let each pass by, but just melt into this state, this heartfelt state of gratitude. I am so grateful. Just grateful for it all. Grateful for it all. And to include the things that are coming our way, let's switch our affirmation to I am so blessed. I am so blessed. Blessed for all that I've been given. Blessed for all that I have yet to receive. Blessed for this moment. Blessed for this life. And as you breathe and become more grounded into this space, let's switch our affirmation to I trust the universe completely. I trust the universe completely. Just say that silently to yourself. With each exhale. And now as we breathe, let's just take a moment to switch our affirmation to I decide my vibration. I decide my vibe. In that power of choice, I decide how I'm going to be in the world. I decide how people are going to see me. I decide what vibe I'm going to give off into the universe. I decide what vibe I'm going to give into my life. I decide my vibe. And now in that decision, that's connected to our place of power. So we might want to think of this coming from our third chakra, which is just below the heart chakra. Just think of that golden sun. Just think of the golden sunflowers as we connect with our power. And the affirmation becomes, I am powerful. I am powerful because I'm inextricably connected to infinite source. More than anywhere, anytime, more than anyone. I am more connected to infinite source, so I am powerful. Just take a deep breath into the power of that. Let that power just move its way through your body as you sit up straighter, perhaps. And now with this gratitude and these blessings and with your vibe and with your power, let's send a prayer out into the world right now, beginning with this room. And prayer is just focused thought. So what kind of energy and intention are you going to send to this room? And outside of this room, into our neighborhood, into our country, into the world. Knowing that this vibe comes right back to you. Just include yourself in that prayer that's going out. And I end with connection. I end with connection because we're a spiritual family. We're connected here in this sanctuary by common intent. We're connected by our hearts. And for this, I'm so very grateful. Let's just be in the silence of that appreciation for just a moment. So taking another deep breath, feeling it energize our bodies. I'm so grateful for this day. I'm so grateful for this moment. I'm so grateful for every person who made the choice to be here, to be a part of this spiritual practice called Unity San Jose. I'm so grateful for the music, the message, the insights, and the shared community. And so it is.
I wanted to sing this song today because it's kind of just come up again and again today, so it's calling you. There is a part of me goes on endlessly. It is higher than the sky, deeper than the sea. It is eternal. It is eternal. It is eternal. And its love never runs out. There is a place in me knows true beauty. It is higher than the mountains, goes further than all the galaxies. It is eternal. It is eternal. It is eternal. And its love never runs out. So slow down, reach out. Give all you have to give. Yeah, we are holy, and we know we have more than we need to live a life of abundance, compassion, and love that never runs out. It never runs out, never runs, never runs, never runs out. This love, it never runs out. There is a part of you remembers who you are. You're the breath of God, and I stand in awe. Oh, we are eternal. We are eternal. We are eternal. And the love never runs out. So slow down and reach out. Give all you have to give. We are holy, and we know we have more than we need to live a life of abundance, compassion, and love that never runs out, never runs out, never runs out. Oh, this love never runs out, never runs out. This love inside, it never runs out, never runs out. This love never runs out.
Thank you, Amy Steinberg. That was so beautiful.